Good evening, WAKA Peninsula. Welcome back from our slight break for the mid-pre-season meet and greet deal.
Yeah.
I'm joined on my far right by Mr. Matt. I won the punt, pats, and kick contest in the under 12 division as a 14-year-old girl. Well, Brock.
My name was Matilda in that competition. I kicked the shit out of that ball.
And in the center here, Mr. Brent, second place at an East Coast Wrestling Federation tournament.
It was a battle royal.
Yeah. One of these stories is true. That's up to you to decide. I think everyone knows. Well, Brock.
That's close.
I do look like a 14-year-old girl at times, though.
Still do.
Especially when you tuck it between your legs. So let's talk about some kickball, guys.
Okay.
So let's look at the week one. Lots of great matchups on the books. And it turned out lots of close games. We'll kick it right off with the 6:30 games. Pitch Please, Double P, making their league debut, defeated your team, Rumspringa, 5-1. Tell us about that game, Mr. Wellbrock.
That was it's always fun to get back into the season, get your team back, get to see some familiar faces and look at a gel. We came into this Pitch Please game, and we knew that they assembled a pretty decent squad, if I say so myself. But we were out there to make a statement. But I think it was a pretty good defensive battle. I don't think the score really dictated the way this game was being played. There's a couple of miscues that we had in the infield that we need to correct going into week two. But, Pitch Please, their infield was just fucking awesome. To hold the speed of Rumspringa to one run, I mean, they were gunning people, Joe, Ramey, like we talked about in week one with, Ricky Holmes, everybody, the speed was there, and they were able to just kind of keep us down pat, and it was up to our defense to produce, which unfortunately we lacked in that game one. But, it was one of those, let's get a run in here, and then the next thing you know, you're down 4-1, and you need that big comeback, and it was just something that we couldn't muster that first week out on War Memorial.
So they had, we know about their pitchers. We know about Daniel. We know about Haas. We know about Wes McLean and Trey McGlon and some of those guys. But what about, how did their soccer players do? Like all those new guys, how did they look out there?
Man, if I could remember 2 weeks back, I'll let you know.
I remembered seeing they at times need a little more direction. I think they have the gifts, the athletic gifts in order to adjust quickly. But, that's my one observation. They're able to make plays, but sometimes, just need a little health positioning-wise, which is an easy fix, and I'm sure Wes and Nikki and company will take care of that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that they had a couple of good line drives and everything, and, it wasn't a bunch of just small-time bunts and big legs that were going over the outfield, or we just couldn't throw them out. They were well-placed kicks. So, I look for Pitch Please to, continue this momentum going into week two. I mean, they got a really good win against a pretty decent team, so, let's see what they do next week.
All right. And then our second game, that was the Chubby Gangsters facing off with Peanut Butter Jelly Time back in Poiple.
Poiple.
Color they hold near and dear to their sandwiches.
Yes.
They scored a 7-6 win. I wasn't watching closely everything here, but it looked to be an exciting game. A lot of people rounding the bases, of course, with a 7-6 win.
Yeah.
Late in the game, heard a lot of cheering. Some errant throws, and PBJ was able to eke it out.
Yeah, this was the highest scoring game of the week, so combined 13 runs scored between the two teams. It looked like it was, from my understanding, what I hear, it was going to be a tie game because it was 6-6. PB&J got a runner to third base, though, and apparently the Chubby Gangsters fell asleep they weren't paying attention, and that runner just ran home, pretty much just stole it. It was Laura Schmidt. I mean, the ball wasn't dead. It was a live ball.
Yeah.
The Chargers, someone someone had the ball in their hands and just was like lollygagging. And the third base coach sent Laura Schmidt home.
Mm-hmm.
So she ran home. By the time the Chubby Gangsters realized she was going there, they tried to make a play. She got in there for the walk-off win. So I was playing at the time on field 3. This game was on field 2. And we just heard like so many cheers and eruptions. And then we saw them all slapping hands. I was like, damn, I think a walk-off has happened. Well, like,
you can sense it. You're like,
yeah.
I think a walk-off has happened.
Well, you figure it out, but they're excited. So PB&J, huge week 1 victory over a Chubby Gangster team that was in the top half of the standings last year. So PB&J looks like they're coming out offensively much improved.
It's like a homage to Benny the Jet Rodriguez in the Sandlot in those final moments after the climax. He's on third base. He steals home. The Jet stole home. The Jet stole home. Like,
the Schmidt stole home.
Yeah, the Schmidt stole home.
Schmidt
got that
wearing
same hat that you
flyers.
didn't. Yep, have that same hat that you didn't throw in the fireplace 20 years ago.
Forever.
Good reference.
Thank you.
And then in the final game in the 6:30 hour.
He ended up playing for the Dodgers. Did you know?
He did. He did.
Well, he's referencing that scene. He's playing for the Dodgers in the scene.
Was he in the scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Benny the Jet was the Dodger and Smalls was the commentator with the
That's
hat.
right. That's right.
That was Smalls?
That was Smalls.
Yeah. We're talking about movies we haven't seen in
Rewatch The Sandlot.
years. Anyways,
For the record, I knew that. Just for kicks.
I'm just stalling so we don't have to talk about this next week.
Versus the Father's Lockers. An anticipated game early on here. Last year's Whitworth Cup champions versus the runner-up, a rematch of the championship game from the spring. JFK this time able to turn the tables and score a 3-1 victory. I believe they came back. They're down 1-0 in the early going.
Yep.
And then put those 3 runs across and shut the 5 o'clockers down.
Yeah, JFK, we looked like we were in good shape, but when we scored 1 run, and we seemed to be cruising offensively. We got through the top of their order, and we got through the first couple innings really with barely having any base runners on. And then in the 3rd inning, they kind of put a couple of hits together, and then it was an unfortunate miscue with 1 out. They had a runner on 3rd base, and there was a pop fly into shallow left field / deep 3rd base. And Courtney Travis, she was under it, and John Leneve was coming in from left field. So John was calling her off because he could get because they had a runner on 3rd.
Yeah.
So his idea was to call her off so that he could take the ball in one motion, try and throw home. And I guess she didn't hear him. It was miscommunication. 2 players, they've never played together before, so a lot of, we haven't gelled yet. And he ended up running right into her, and the ball hit the turf, and they scored 2 runs. But that's not the really unfortunate part. The unfortunate part was like Courtney actually got injured and broke her tailbone in the play. So that scored 2 runs. Then Jill Shaw ended up doing a sacrifice the next play to get the 3rd run in. And we just weren't able to get any offense against their defense. That JFK defense is stout. I think I'll go out on the ledge. So they had Daniel Shaw pitching. JC wasn't even Yeah, the Condor. The Condor was throwing heat on the mound. They had Dom charging, Jeremiah charging. They had Eric at catcher. That's... and then their outfield is solid. JFK is going to be tough to score runs on, so I'm going to go out on a ledge and say they're probably going to lead the league in runs scored or runs allowed.
Just write that down.
Vintage JFK, though. Free gets these people going. Coming out here against a win against the defending champions. This is vintage regular season JFK right here.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I got.
I think, they're going to be good. They are good.
Yeah.
Going to be good. Their defense is elite. They're gonna have to find a way to get their bunts down and get on base. They're offensively, they might be challenged a little bit, or maybe they were just facing superior pitching on Wednesday, so that's why they struggled. Perhaps that could be. That's just a theory, but
But
But other than that, I mean, JFK's, they're sick.
Yeah.
They're nasty.
I'm not surprised by this. I mean, not at all.
Certainly no surprise there. Beware the Freed in the night when he's wearing a neon shirt. He'll come for you. And we'll be coming back for you with recaps from the 7:30 games for week 1 in the WAKA VA Peninsula. So come on back, everybody.